kindly ask you to briefly introduce yourself.
Yes, hello all. My name is 𝗥𝗲𝘁𝗵𝗶. I work as a professor of project management and complex systems at the University of Oulu in Finland. And in my research, I have particularly focused on stakeholder engagement in complex projects. And I also serve as a member of the editorial board of the project management journal.
Thank you. Marina?
Hi, shall I go? Hi, everyone. My name is Marina Bos. I'm working as an associate professor at the Faculty of Industrial Design Engineering at Technical University of Delft. And my research focuses specifically on understanding how to design for joint value creation in societal transitions, focusing on sustainability projects, but also other types of transitions and the role of projects and programs in that.
Thank you. Ērmal?
Yes, 𝗟𝗲𝗵𝗶, Associate Professor, Docent at the School of Business and Economics, Linnéuniversitetet. I also have a leg at KTH as a researcher. My research focus is in organizing and innovation, specifically on the role of projects in bringing about change and transformation at the society level, so at the field level of organizing. And sustainability is one of the core topics that I'm continuing and focusing on.
Siavash?
Hi everyone, my name is 𝗥𝗲𝘁𝗵𝗶 and I'm a research fellow at the Center for Business Sustainability at King's College London, and my research focuses on the sustainability transition and systemic changes with a focus on the project organizing and time and temporality.
So our special issue aims to further develop the perspective of sustainability by projects. So that is understanding how projects and programs, not simply understanding them as delivery mechanisms, but as vehicles that actively are shaping broader sustainability outcomes and legacies. And in this sense, our call moves beyond the more established perspectives of sustainability in and of projects. And in our call, we focus also particularly on stakeholder engagement, viewing it as one of the key mechanisms through which sustainability priorities, trade-offs, value, and long-term outcomes are negotiated. And more broadly, we are also interested in how project organizing and governance arrangements related to stakeholder engagement are actually shaping what sustainability becomes in practice and which sustainability futures and priorities ultimately become then actionable. The call also highlights a set of illustrative tensions. So, for example, between inclusion and exclusion, global ambitions and local realities, short-term delivery pressures and long-term sustainability goals, and managerial control and more emergent sustainability dynamics. Rather than viewing these tensions as problematic, we also see them as potentially productive and opening up important opportunities for reflection and learning on sustainability by projects. And I would also want to highlight that while the call in a way highlights a number of these tensions, these are intended as illustrative starting points rather than fixed categories. And to conclude, we welcome contributions that extend, challenge, or rethink existing assumptions about how projects shape sustainability transitions, negotiate sustainability priorities, and influence sustainability legacies in practice. And we also warmly welcome diverse theoretical perspectives, empirical settings, and methodological approaches related to sustainability by projects.
Thank you. Well, I personally think that there is a lot of need for a new research in this area, because what we see happening in a lot of projects is that we are still managing the projects as if they are clear what we want to reach up front. We know what kind of deliverables we are working towards, what kind of outcomes are pursued. But in the case of sustainability transitions and the role that projects have in those, that is often really not clear in the beginning. Also during the project, a lot of things emerge, evolve, unfold unpredictably, and that also requires project managers to adopt different approaches, to also understand projects in different ways. And we think it's really important to theorize the role of projects and also what it means to have a project, what is the temporality of the project in a different way, and also to understand what kind of mechanisms play a role here.
Just to add to what Kirsi and Marina mentioned, I think the first thing that we would like to see is that the contributions that go beyond the familiar framing of how do we integrate sustainability into project management. Even though that's an important question, I think for this call specifically, we would like to ask something a bit different, that how do projects as a form of organizing shape what sustainability becomes? So, and how we perceive sustainability and act upon it. And by that, we mean we are interested in the structural dimensions as much as the process of the project organizing, and not just who was included or excluded in the stakeholder engagement, but what the architecture of the project, the organization of the projects, its metrics, its governance arrangement, its evaluative frameworks, the narrative practices and such, due to sustainability commitments once they were set in motion. So how the trade-offs between the economic, social, and ecological aims actually get negotiated inside the projects? How is accountability established or deferred? What makes some sustainability concerns visible and measurable while others become invisible or get pushed and deferred to the future? We are also particularly interested in the interaction between the qualitative dynamic of stakeholder engagement and the more calculative quantitative logic of project evaluation, because one of the risks in this space, as we've observed in practice, is that organization can perform robust, inclusive stakeholder engagement while leaving the underlying mechanism of how projects are valued and justified entirely unchallenged. So engagement become a kind of legitimacy device that coexists comfortably with the evaluative framework that remains extractive in its logic. So we think this that intersection between the dialogue and the evaluation, between whose voice is heard, whose metrics prevail, is where some of the most important and underexplored tensions sit. And also, finally, we also want to see works that takes temporality seriously, as Marina mentioned, not just the mismatch between project timeline and sustainability horizon, but the deeper question of how projects construct and commit to futures. What happens when those commitments become resistance to revision, for example, and change, even when the condition changes, as we know it happens in all sustainability initiatives and collective work. So we're curious about how also artificial intelligence can shape these dynamics, the inclusivity and participation, and what happens to those core projects, practices, and activities when artificial intelligence are involved. So in short, we are looking for depth, for structural thinking, for process studies, and willingness to engage with the tensions rather than resolving them too quickly.
Thank you. Marina, do you want to add something on that?
Yeah, well, I think this is already capturing it very nicely, and I think maybe to add a few things to that. So we are also very interested in understanding the dynamics that operate beneath the surface of projects and sustainability efforts. So we still see a lot of research focusing on the visible dimensions of projects, governance structures, activities, practices, outputs, outcomes. formal stakeholder engagement processes. But beneath the surface, there's also a lot going on in terms of the values these involved stakeholders hold, assumptions, cultures, emotions, politics. And we think it's really important to understand the role that these underlying dynamics play in the projects and the sustainability effects these projects have. So we also invite people to dive deeper and to also understand what kind of methodologies are suited to doing that. So this might also require different innovative approaches to studying sustainability in projects and stakeholder engagement. And I think another thing to add could be to that we are also seeing tensions, as Kirsi already mentioned, as something that can be, they are there. So it's basically inevitable to have these tensions. And we also see that they can really be productive. And currently there is a lot of focus on having tensions mitigated, resolved, trying to avoid tensions. But we actually see in a lot of the sustainability projects and programs that tensions are actually driving also the projects further and the sustainability effects these projects have. So we also invite people to take a different approach towards seeing tensions and to theorizing tensions. And maybe these can even become very important, new angles to understanding project management. So we are curious to see people's approaches towards that.
Yeah, perhaps I can take on that one. We are basically open. We are open both to conceptual papers and empirical papers, but we are selective in a sense. Conceptually, we would like to see authors that have done some serious work in their papers and theoretical work, basically not just literature reviews dressed as theory. Have engaged seriously with, okay, where are we and where are we heading when we have in mind the issue of sustainability and stakeholder engagement and the role of projects. And then empirically, we are also open in a sense that we welcome both rich case studies, comparative case studies, ethnographies, process studies, but also mixed method and quantitative research design. We also see, as many mentioned before, both Siavash and Marina, but also Kirsi, that the role of AI is also interesting, also in a sense methodologically. We would like to see papers that go beyond the mere technical or quantitative analysis, but that engage with the evaluation models and metrics and combine that, and also the role of AI in enabling decision making. And when it comes to AI, we also think this is not a separate topic, but it is something that may reconfigure the existing tensions that the colleagues mentioned. I mean, AI can amplify certain stakeholder voices and can filter out some others and reshape the attribution. So that would be also something interesting. As an empirical setting, what we have existent, I mean, both mega projects, infrastructure, urban development projects, energy transitions, public sector programs, cross-sector collaborations between, let's say, university, government agencies, and the role of the private companies as well would be relevant. But then, where are projects sitting in this network and nexus? And the role of projects would be interesting. So yes, there is room for contribution, we think, as we mentioned, and yeah, we are open to welcoming different conceptual and empirical papers.
So regarding the timeline, we encourage authors to first submit an extended abstract of approximately 1,000 words by October 1st this year. And the purpose of this abstract is to help authors, you, over their position and further develop your ideas in relation to the special issue. And you will receive developmental feedback from us by mid-October 2026 this year. And full paper submissions will be then due at the end of February 2027, followed by review and revision process throughout 2027, with the special issue then expected to be finalized in 2028, early 2028. And we are very much looking forward to receiving your thought-provoking contributions and to starting this important conversation on sustainability by projects.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the guest editor for their time to explaining us the call. It's really ambitious. I personally really like this idea of tension now. So because in real life, in the end, we have tension, and I agree that, I mean, this is really a relevant topic. You will find all the information about the call below this video, as well as on our channels, both on website and social media. And with that, I really thank you for your time and attention.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.